I'm fighting to this day. Every day I fight for my career. And I think that's what a lot of people don't know about me. They're just like, oh, she just like got handed everything. She's an industry plant. That's what I read online. And I'm just like, that couldn't be farthest from the truth. It was really hard being a female actually in the industry growing up because, you get hit on and it's just really uncomfortable. And then I would just be like staying in the studio for as long as I could to finish the record. But then I'm like, I felt uncomfortable, so I left. So I couldn't stay for too long. So it was just like, it was back and forth a lot. And I didn't feel like I could really grow when I got here. Like I was locked in a room by a producer when I was 20 years old, and he called my tears crocodile tears. I don't think I've ever said that to anyone in public. I remember that moment, and I'm just like, I never want to deal with this ever again. And I kind of got into like a little hermit mode and got really sad that year, I remember. And then I started meeting the right people a year later, but I almost quit at 20 for sure. It was really hard being a female actually in the industry growing up because, you get hit on and it's just really uncomfortable. And then I would just be like staying in the studio for as long as I could to finish the record. But then I'm like, I felt uncomfortable, so I left. So I couldn't stay for too long. So it was just like, it was back and forth a lot. And I didn't feel like I could really grow when I got here. Like I was locked in a room by a producer when I was 20 years old, and he called my tears crocodile tears. I don't think I've ever said that to anyone in public. I remember that moment, and I'm just like, I never want to deal with this ever again. And I kind of got into like a little hermit mode and got really sad that year, I remember. And then I started meeting the right people a year later, but I almost quit at 20 for sure. They weren't like agreeing, some other people. And so I was just like, I don't even like this. I want to do this type of music, but then they didn't like the type of music I wanted to do. So it was very confusing, and it was a really hard time as well. And then I cut my hair. I made it into the max cut. And I remember walking into a party and everybody was just like,
Whoa.
who's that girl? And that's when I remember the head of my publishing company was like looking at me kind of like almost like, hey, I think you're ready now. You created also not only a great record, Stupid Psycho, but an identity now that I could see you in a crowd room full of people. Here's a story I haven't told anyone actually. I can't believe I'm saying this. I hemorrhaged my vocal cords. They exploded the day before I was supposed to travel to Europe for promo tour for Stupid Psycho. While Stupid Psycho was #1 all over the world, my vocal cords exploded. And the label didn't know. No one knew. I told them I had strep throat, the flu, anything to get out of this or give me 2 more weeks to go to Europe. So for 2 weeks, I slept like 14 hours a day. I had like barely any food. And I went back to the doctor a week and a half later. And the doctor is like, I've never seen a miracle like this, but your vocal cords just grew back, brand new, but baby vocal cords. And he's like, you have to be so careful because they can explode again. And I was going on a promo tour, gonna promote and sing Sweet But Psycho all over the world. So the first year singing Sweet But Psycho, I look back at the videos and it's just like me learning how to sing again with new vocal cords. And no one knows this. Every song is different. Some songs can get done in like 2 hours. Like Lovin' Myself, I wrote that in like 2 hours. Sweet But Psycho took a few months of rewriting and rewriting. Kings and Queens took almost a year of rewrites. I mean, we've had so many versions of Kings and Queens. And then the last version, everybody was like, damn, this sounds like a hit. Sounds insane. I can't stop replaying this. It makes me feel so good. And we're like, that's it. So it's like a feeling you get. And I love making pop music. I feel like I'm just like constantly like tweaking the vocals up until the very few days before it's released. I'm insane about that stuff. I work with a ton of collaborators, different producers, different songwriters, and especially for this album, I got in the studio with a lot of new people, which was very hard for me. I was so emotional in the beginning because I was working with a few collaborators that were like, essentially they were my tribe, right? So like they were with me through the beginning until the end of the second album. And then all of a sudden, I mean, the internet knows what happened. And there was some drama and some betrayal and heartbreak, and I had to separate myself from these people. And I had to find my new tribe. And so there's a lot of trials and tribulations starting the third album. It was very emotional. It was hard for me to go into a studio without crying because I felt so alone, but it made me stronger. And I think this happened for a reason because now I'm standing on my own 2 feet stronger than ever. And I'm very grateful for that. I've always made it about the music, always. And a lot of people are always saying, oh, but her brand sometimes doesn't connect with her music. And I think the reason why is because I have been a studio hermit for years and I just focused on the lyrics and the melodies and my performances, and that's it. I wasn't even thinking about, oh, the fame aspect, the pap moments. It's like, I don't want all that. And I think it's apparent. People know that now. They're just like, I see comments all the time. They're just like, Ava doesn't even care to go out and promote her music. And I'm just like, I do. I want to perform. I love performing. I cannot wait to go on tour. I love doing interviews. I love telling people my story. But being seen constantly is not really my thing. And I think it's important for me to say that on here because I see a lot of comments about it. And then to postpone the tour was a big decision. I didn't want to do it. I had to do it because I want to give a great show. And I switched management mid-album launch. And I just didn't feel like it was right to keep going with the tour when I knew it wasn't going to be the tour that my fans deserve. It is postponed. It's not canceled. It will happen. And I'm going to announce something before the end of the year. Started working out every single day. And it's because I want to give the greatest show next time I perform. And so I'm taking it very serious this next tour because I postponed it, and I feel so bad about that. And I know the fans were looking forward to it. So the tour coming up is going to be very, very exciting.
Do you go to other?
Sweet But Psycho was huge at the time. And the reason why I think it was huge was because I remember being on New Music Friday. It was the only pop song at the time. It was the only pop song. So it stood out on New Music Friday. And that goes to show how uniqueness and just originality is so important. Yeah, so I'm already starting the 4th album. I know the 3rd album just dropped, but I'm very excited. I'm starting it in September. And there may or may not be a deluxe for Don't Click Play. That's all I'm saying.
What does navigating management and a label look like? Walk us through the business side of the music industry.
That's always tricky because I know a lot of people always ask me that. I'm very music focused. I'm very music led. I love my team right now, but at the end of the day, I'm just like, I let people do, their job. I don't try and interfere too much, but I do stay on top of everything. I am extremely hands-on.
What does a team look like for a music artist?
Management, label, publishing, lawyers, business management, tour manager, assistants. There is so much. It takes a village, and I'm not even exaggerating. It takes this entire country, it feels like.
How do you go through the process of finding all of those different people? Like, how did you find your publicist, etc.?
It's almost kismet because when you meet them, you know if it's right or wrong. I feel like I have a good sense of energy. So I've stayed with my lawyers from the beginning. I've, a lot of people that I've working with, like that are my core, I've known for a long time. Just management, I recently switched, and I think change is good. It's a snake year, right? It's about shedding.
It is about shedding this year.
I don't even think about it like that. I put out a song now and I'm not thinking, I hope it goes number 1. I'm just saying okay, I really love this song and I'm going to put it out. And if it resonates, it resonates. But if it doesn't, I have a lot more music. I make a lot of pop songs and they will always get music from me because that's like my bread and butter, making pop music. Yeah. Even just disappear like I did the last 2 months. I disappeared.
Why did you decide to take a step back?
I feel like I felt this overwhelming pressure and I didn't feel right at the moment posting. I didn't want to put out an energy I wasn't proud of. So I had to take a step back for a lot of reasons, my mental health, my sanity, and to recalibrate what I want to do next and really be strategic this time because I'm in a place in my life where I'm protecting my energy and I want to still keep it about the music. I don't want to get distracted. And when there's too many opinions, you can get distracted no matter how strong you are. So that's normal. But I think you need to really have some alone time and meditate on it, take some walks on your own. It's really healthy.
What does the economic side of music look like? So how does an artist get paid? Is it from the streams? Is it from endorsements?
I mean, there's different things like you said, endorsements. There's tour. There's streaming money. There's performances. All performances obviously pay, but I think, yeah, it comes in different things.